Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very well recognized media personality, a branding expert, a coach, and an author from New South Wales, Australia, Christine Blosdale. Christine, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Ash. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Christine is an expert authority coach. She's an internationally recognized media personality, five-time number one best-selling author, and a content creator. So, Christine, while we'll speak a little about branding and social media, a few questions for you personally. And my
Okay.
first question is, from flunking kindergarten to achieving global success and becoming an expert authority coach, how did you stay resilient through personal and professional challenges?
Oh, I owe that all to my grandmother and my mother, I think, who
Hmm.
always told me as a young child, you can do anything. You
Hmm.
can be anyone. And from flunking kindergarten onward, that was sort of the mantra that I was
Hmm.
given.
Hmm.
And I was the only reason why I flunked kindergarten was because I spoke French. My mother was from Morocco.
Yeah.
And so I was always around adults
Hmm.
and speaking different language. And so when I went to kindergarten in America,
Hmm.
uh, I I was looking at these little children and I was thinking, who are these little things?
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
so used to speaking to adults.
Yeah.
So I was told I need to stay another year. And I was
Hmm.
glad I did.
Okay. And what was the turning point in your life when you realized you wanted to focus on branding and media coaching?
Well, I was very lucky to work for this little place called America Online. And back in the
Hmm.
day,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're as old as I am, but back in the day, that's all there was
Yep.
America
Yep.
Online.
Yep. I used to have an account on the AOL, so
That screechy sound when you got mail and all that good stuff. Well, it was an amazing time because it was really only through writing
Mhm.
on America Online. We didn't have a lot of video, not like TikTok is today.
Yeah.
And I got a great break to do an entertainment column. I wrote through a cartoon character. I did not write as myself, but I got to write for such an incredible audience. And I was
Mhm.
told by my editor the target audience is 8
Mhm.
to 80. And I said, that's a very wide breadth of a target
Mhm.
audience.
Mhm.
They said, well, that's who we have. And
Mhm.
so you need to write in a way that 8 year olds and 80-year olds will enjoy it.
Mhm.
And so I began my journey of marketing, messaging, writing content that could appeal to a very wide audience
Mhm.
and honing my craft in that way.
Mhm.
And that was many, many moons ago. I was there for about 2 years. It was fabulous. Got to do all the entertainment things, celebrity, gossip and all that. And then 9/11 happened. And
Mhm.
I just said, I felt really weird
Mhm.
about covering, Hollywood and
Yeah.
movies and things like that. And so I
Mhm.
was searching. And when you're searching for something, Ash, sometimes those opportunities come to you.
Correct. Correct.
And I did. I was lucky enough to find a radio station that was very unique and progressive, and I started volunteering there. And 20 years later, I did leave eventually that radio station and the network, but I became a coach in the process because I
Mhm.
love teaching people my
How amazing.
skills.
How
Yeah,
amazing. And when I was reading about you and preparing for this conversation, I was also fascinated about this last flight out. So
mm,
tell me about your last flight out moment that transformed your life and career.
absolutely. So I was living in Southern California. I had met my wife. My wife had found me on Instagram, one of those social media stories.
Hmm.
She stalked me for a while, and we were talking, and we fell madly in love, and it was great.
Hmm.
And but I was going to be moving here to Australia eventually,
Hmm.
and I had a regular flight planned in it was April of 2020.
Hmm.
And my wife called me up frantically and said, "You need to move up your flight because this COVID thing is gonna. I feel bad. I feel it's gonna be something really bad." And I said, "No, it's just the flu. It's not a big deal." And she
Hmm.
said, "No, I think you need to bump your flight up." And so I got off the call. I went to look at my flight. It was completely gone, erased.
Hmm.
There was no such thing, like as if I never booked it. And I got on the phone and called the partner airline, and they said the Australian government has said they're going to shut the border hard, and so all the flights are being canceled. And
Wow.
I was panicked, Ash. I was so panicked because we're 7,000 miles away from each other at
Mm,
this point. And I hear that there's some epidemic, pandemic thing happening. And I'm like, I have to get to be with my wife and
mm,
our two kids. And so she said, there's nothing available. She says, I'm looking at the screen and there's nothing available tomorrow or the next
mm,
day. The only flight is today and it leaves in a couple hours. Do you want it?
mm,
And Ash, it was one of those moments where I'm looking around my house with all my things and photos and dishes in the sink, and my brain was saying no, but
mm,
my heart was saying yes,
mm,
because I didn't know if I would get to see her again
mm,
or what
mm,
the
mm.
circumstance would be.
Yeah.
So I got that flight, went to LAX. LAX was completely empty, which never happens because
Mm,
it's the busiest airport in the world, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And got on the flight, and it was very creepy and very weird when we took
Mm,
off the tarmac. When we took off, I felt like I was not going to see the place that I called
mm,
home
mm.
ever again.
How
I have
wonderful.
since gone back once, but that's.
How amazing. And there have been some amazing stories about this, but a lot of people who managed to literally get out at the last minute. But
It was surreal. And I think as a collective, as in humanity, I think many of us still suffer a bit of
absolutely.
PTSD, a little bit of
Yeah.
trauma from
Yeah.
that time, because a lot of folks did not get to be with their loved ones
I know.
when they were passing. Funerals, they weren't able to attend funeral. I mean, it was
Mm,
just really heartbreak.
I
So I'm glad that's past us, but I'm sticking close to my wife now.
I know. And I'm so happy that you managed to get home.
Thank you.
So, Christine, let's now talk about branding and social media. It's an area
Yeah.
that you have a lot of expertise in. We'll
Yeah.
talk about personal branding as well. Uh, so, my first question in this area is in today's crowded marketplace, what makes a personal brand truly magnetic? And you are a star.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what it is? Uh I tell this to my clients all the time, because they say, "Well, who am I to be talking on social media or writing a book or having a podcast?" And I said, "You know what? First of all, we're all unique and we all have our own experiences and wisdom." But I
Mm,
said, as a society, our culture, we are craving authenticity.
mm,
And you can see it, Ash. Look around. Hollywood is crumbling. Okay. The Kardashian dynasty lifestyle of the rich and uber famous
yeah.
is really not as appealing as it
Mm,
was,
mm,
because we are craving authenticity. We're craving relatability and
mm,
connectivity.
mm,
Even though a lot of us are on our devices,
mm.
we're still trying to connect
Yeah.
and make that authentic
Correct.
relationship. And
Correct.
so that's really something that's so important right now.
Mm,
If you can truly be authentic, I think you'll
mm.
shine.
Yeah.
And we just need to find out what your golden gems are. What are the gems that are in the crown that you're going to wear and
Mm,
market yourself at?
mm. Fascinating. And I'd love to get your perspective on some of the biggest mistakes a lot of individuals make when they're trying to build their personal brand.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, if you are thinking about marketing or getting the word out about your business, and if you do not have a website,
Mm,
please do get one. And get one together. The other thing is that when that website is just all copy and text,
mm,
and maybe an old photo of you from long, long ago. Remember, this is your calling card. And many times people will go to your website, and if they don't like it, or if it smells a little desperate, they're going to leave. So
mm,
I encourage, this is a tip for your audience.
mm,
A really great thing is what we call above the fold. So when you go to a website on your phone or on your desktop, the very thing that you see without scrolling is called above the fold.
mhm,
If you can have a video that starts playing right away and introduces you, or if you have a product, a service, it introduces that person or the product right to the consumer, right to the client, and
mhm.
you're looking them in the eye and you're saying, "Hey, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I do," so
Mm,
that they can feel your energy. And
mhm,
not to get woo woo, but
mm,
I'll get woo woo. Energy is powerful.
Correct.
And that magnetism, that authenticity, that uniqueness about you can
Mm,
be said with just a few words on a video, as
mm,
opposed to a long diatribe of text.
mm.
So that's my
Yeah.
big thing. The
And
other
what a
thing
great
is,
response. Yeah.
if you're going to be working on branding,
Mm,
don't use a selfie photo that you took
mm.
in the dark. Go get a professional headshot.
Correct. Correct. That's
It'll be gold for you.
absolutely. And there's a lot of stress people place on the importance of storytelling. I'd love to get your thoughts on how do storytelling techniques enhance one's personal brand?
Well, you proved it. You proved it right there, Ash. At the
Mhm.
very beginning of this conversation, you had asked me about something that was very personable and very that I could relate to, because I it's embedded into my mind and my
Correct.
memory, right? So I was able to tell that story, and I could
Yeah.
tell a whole bunch of stories that will allow the audience to
Mm,
be there in that situation.
mm,
So when I talked about catching that last flight out of Los Angeles,
mm.
a lot of your listeners were already imagining what that would feel like,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And how hard it would be to be pulled away from your spouse, from your loved ones.
Mm,
And so it was immediately they were able to connect with me. So having those stories, now some people have a signature story, which is like that
mm,
one TEDx talk type thing,
mm,
where
mm,
they go and this is what they're going to be doing all their programs on and all their
mhm,
books and all that great stuff. And then
mm,
other people have a more varied life and a
mm,
lot of experiences,
mm,
and so they have a lot of stories. And
mm,
I have a client who's 82 years old. She's one of the first women to do hot air ballooning, and she owned a
mhm,
hot air balloon company in Australia.
mhm.
And she talks about being in a male dominated world, but her best stories are about how she almost died 7 times and how she was saved by a pod of dolphins.
Wow.
She opens with that. You're all ears.
Mm, amazing. Thank you. And what is the role of vulnerability when it comes to building your personal brand?
I think vulnerability has a wonderful it's a wonderful opportunity for you, again, to connect with your audience.
Mm,
It's knowing how vulnerable you're
yeah.
going to be,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
So we all have those moments where, and I've done workshops and webinars where I'm midway through it, and
mm,
I look and I go, I forgot to hit the record button.
mm,
And so I'll tell my audience, I'll tell the people that are at the workshop, and I'll say, you know what? I forgot to hit the record button.
mm,
Yes, it happens to, the best of us. And I've
mm.
done thousands of webinars and workshops.
Yeah.
So allowing people, though, to see that you're not perfect, and being imperfect is perfect.
Mm,
So showing those moments where you stumble, you fall,
yeah.
I think is something that is going to also connect you. I don't want to be a guru to
Mm,
anyone.
mm,
I want to be a co-collaborator. I
correct.
want to be that spark plug that
Mm,
gets them thinking and goes, "Oh, I can do that."
mm.
Yes, you can. Let me help you.
Fascinating. You're obviously such a good storyteller. The moment you said you forgot to hit the record button, I quickly checked if I had hit the record
No, I checked for you. You are.
button. My next question for you is how do you help clients define and communicate their expert authority?
It all depends on the person.
Hmm.
So you had mentioned earlier that I have five best-selling books.
Yeah.
I am not a writer. I am an author,
Hmm.
but I'm a speaker.
Mm,
So I talk, right? So those books were written by taking the video content, the things that I've spoken about,
mm,
and take that content and I've turned them into books, not
mm.
a transcript, because that would be
Yeah.
boring.
Hmm.
But you have technology now that you can take videos of you
Mm,
saying some great stuff, and you can, and all the episodes that you've done on this podcast, you have thousands of books at your
mm,
disposal, Ash,
mm.
because of all that content that you've
Yeah.
created, right?
Mm, mm.
So some people are writers, some people are talkers.
Correct.
So I'll look at the client and I'll decide right away. I
Mm,
use a little intuition as well. I'm
mm,
not a psychic, but I do use my intuition when I'm working with people.
mm,
And that intuition will tell me right away, this
mm.
person needs to have a podcast because
Yeah.
they have such a unique niche, such an interesting story.
Mm.
that they need to talk. There was this one woman that I met. She was trying to expand her business, and her business is very unique. It's uh, bra fittings, and she does like custom bras. And she's like, I don't know how to get, everything is very local, and I don't know how to get more people to know about what I
Mm.
do. And I said, you have to have a podcast.
Correct.
Bra stories could, do you know how many women could relate to that? And
Correct.
even like fathers having to take their daughters to get the
Mm.
first bra.
Mm.
I have a first bra story. I was terrified.
Mm.
So I said, you have so many great stories. And of course, you can be your own sponsor, your
Correct.
own advertiser. But you see, it just depends on the person. Some people
Mm.
would be a great guest on a podcast and
Mm.
not a host.
Absolutely.
Others, I'll lead them in different ways. Some
Mm.
people, I'm like, TikTok is not your place, but LinkedIn is a place where you can communicate and network.
Mm. Well said. And Christine, what is one underrated social media tactic that a lot of people tend to overlook?
Mm. I think this is a bit with my older clients. The
Mm.
the younger ones don't have too much of a problem with it.
Mm.
Is and this is the dreaded imposter syndrome.
Mm.
So some clients that are a bit older are terrified to get
Mm.
on video. And it's because they're worried about being judged, what other
Mm.
people will think. I'm who am I to go on camera and tell people what to do? And I say video is whatever, king, queen, whichever you prefer.
Mm.
Video is the most important,
Correct.
because with video you can reach people. And if it's really good, if you're inspiring or motivating or educating, informing, making somebody laugh,
Mm.
it's easy to share that.
Mm.
And you have an analytics, you can see. So you can see how many people have watched that video, you can see how long they stayed for that video, you
Mm.
can also see if they've shared it, right, or if they've saved it in their favorite. If
Mm.
somebody favorites your video,
Mm.
that's huge. And
Yeah.
so the algorithms of, especially like a TikTok, they will push that out to more people, right?
Mm.
So it's very underrated. And we all have a film crew in our pocket,
Yeah.
Ash.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
called the phone. It's called
Mm.
your iPhone or your other, the Android people.
Mm.
It's literally a film crew. And
Mm.
even the microphone on these are is really good.
Absolutely.
Um, but it's right there in your hand. And
Mm.
we don't need all the production stuff. You don't need fancy lighting and all that good stuff. You just
Correct.
need a good premise. You need
Correct.
a good pitch or an angle.
Absolutely. Thank you. How does your win-win-win approach tie into building strong social media communities?
I love this. So this has been my philosophy in
Mm.
business for forever.
Mm.
My win-win-win is when my client wins,
Mm.
or my collaboration partner, or my guest who's on a podcast show,
Mhm.
when somebody that I'm working with, when they win because of the work that I'm doing,
Mm.
they get more sales, more calls, they're getting more bookings, whatever the goal is.
Mm.
They win. I win because I feel like I've just done a really great job.
Mm.
People are getting to know me through that interaction that I've had with that person or that
Mm.
client, right? And referrals are always wonderful.
Yeah.
And then the world wins, because when it's not a thing of being greedy
Mm.
and it's a thing of sharing and giving,
Mm.
when the world wins, it's a trickle, not a trickle down effect, but a ripple out effect,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Because the energy is all really good. There's no greed involved. There's no shifty eyed, thing happening.
Mm.
It's every single person in the process gets to
Mm.
feel good and to benefit.
Mm.
That has an energy all of its own. And I believe that's like where we're at. I think we're done with this stingy scarcity mindset, and we're more about collaboration and working together. And I think humanity in general is at a point where, even with borders and everything, they're like, you know what, we need to all collaborate together to make our lives better.
Absolutely.
It matters if my neighbor is
Correct.
happy and healthy.
Correct. Great response. I've often heard from a lot of small businesses and individuals that, how can I create content that will be relevant, or will someone really look at it? And therefore, my question is, how can small businesses and individuals create content that resonates across different social media platforms? How do they get visibility, or how do they get their voice heard?
Well, I believe in repurposing content. So I am a huge fan of, if I create a video, and let's say I create a video with the purpose of putting it on TikTok.
Mm.
I will not just put it on TikTok. I will put it on TikTok. I'll put it on YouTube Shorts,
Yeah.
Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, even LinkedIn. I'll throw that puppy up on there sometimes, because also every audience, every platform has a different vibe, right? Facebook and Instagram, Facebook and Facebook owns Instagram, so it's, I say Facebook, Instagram
Yeah.
in one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It got a lot of backlash when
Mm.
the whole TikTok, when they were trying to squash TikTok and to make it illegal, right,
Mm.
and to ban it.
Mm.
Facebook got a lot of backlash on that because people were finding out that they were trying to snuff out the competition. So
Mm.
people were canceling their subscription. They weren't using Facebook or Instagram at all, canceling
Mm.
their accounts in the droves, and they were really staying on TikTok. TikTok is more of a tribe community kind of vibe,
Mm.
right? And you do have all kinds of crazy things on there,
Yeah.
but you actually have some really good reporting. You
Absolutely.
have people on the ground saying this is what's happening.
Mm.
So people are tuning away from news and media and they're going to that platform.
Mm.
When it comes to Facebook, it's great for catching up with the people that you went to high school with, your cousins, you can see there's a baby in the family. Okay, that's
Mm.
great. And
Mm.
for local businesses. So if you're someone who has a brick and mortar, a pizza shop, or you're a tailor, or you're a mechanic, I think Facebook is fabulous because you can really niche down to your community. You can
Mm.
find your city, your county,
Yeah. Yeah.
your locals.
Mm.
When it comes to reaching people internationally, I think TikTok is brilliant.
Mm.
LinkedIn is a different animal. LinkedIn is more about networking and collaboration.
Correct.
It's not about selling your wares,
Mm.
and because people will smell it too, and they go, "Oh no, you're trying to pitch me, you're trying to sell me something."
Mm.
It's about networking,
Yeah.
and if you use it as that tool, then it's a
That's
great
very,
thing.
very well said. I have time for one more question for you,
Okay.
Christine, and that is that, what trends in branding and social media should entrepreneurs be preparing for in the next few years?
Artificial intelligence,
Mm.
AI, and don't
Absolutely.
be afraid of AI
Mm.
because AI can be your friend. I speak to a lot of older clients when I start to talk about AI, they go, "Oh no, I'm too afraid of that." I said,
Mm.
Listen, let's start easy. You start easy, and it might even just be something where you take the copy of your website, your business website,
Mm.
and you go, okay, here's my bio on my website, or here's a description of the service that I offer, and you throw it into, let's say, a chat gpt or perplexity.ai. I love perplexity as well.
Yeah.
And you throw it in there and you just say, if I was and do your target audience,
Yeah.
if I was a single mom looking to looking to lose 5 pounds over the summer, whatever,
Mm.
um, what would you change in this description? Or
Mm.
how would you target this conversation,
Correct.
this messaging to that person, right?
Mm.
It might be a Gen Xer, it might be a
Yeah.
baby boomer,
Mm.
whoever it is, so that you're giving it direction, and then just see what happens. It's all in the prompts. It's all in
Yeah.
how you direct it.
Yeah.
But there's other tools that you can
Mm.
use,
Mm.
like the program that I used to take my videos and turn them into beautiful books.
Mm.
Those programs are out there.
Mm.
There's an AI for everything.
Correct.
So it's just learning and finding what you can play with and that
Mm.
you enjoy. And
Mm.
then I say, play with it.
Mm.
You never know what you'll create.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Well said. And on that note, and your amazing advice of make AI a part of your life. Thank
Mm.
you, Christine, for speaking to me about your own amazing journey. Thank you for speaking to me about this fascinating story of your last flight out. I think viewers and listeners are going to remember that story. I will. Thank you also for covering some very detailed thoughts on personal branding as well as the expert authority. Thank you for
Thank you,
speaking to
man.
me, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.